sure you're doing what works for you. This is only my experience. Do the research before making your move. Hey y'all, it's your LD back with another video. This video is in response to a video that I saw another YouTuber talking about. She wanted to move with little to no support, and I'm here for it. I've done it twice. The first time I did was to Seattle, and I ended up staying there for 6 years. The second time was to Dallas, and I only ended up staying, what was it, like 3-ish months, and then it just didn't work out for me. So I'm going to give y'all 6 tips that I use to allow me to move to a different state where I didn't have any support, I didn't know anybody, with little to no money. Okay, the number one thing that I did to help me in my transition to a new city is I always apply for jobs ahead of time. Granted, nowadays you don't really have to do that. If you're a hustler, get you Uber Eats on your phone, apply before you leave, get Instacart, get Postmates, whatever, Caviar, any of those delivery services you can do. They're not going to make you a lot of money, but if you need to keep your head above water, you can do those courier jobs. Otherwise, I applied for retail jobs prior to leaving Milwaukee. I was applying to about 50 jobs a day and had like maybe only a couple answers by the time I got back, but I did have one job that was legit serious. The manager gave me a chance. He was like, if you're serious about living or serious about your move, link up with me when you get here. And I did just that. I ended up working at that particular job for about 3 years, and it helped me get by. So I would encourage you to be on Indeed, be on Snag a Job, or whatever career websites are still up and running, and get you a job before you go to your new destination. Number 2, I would say you don't have to save a lot of money to move to a new city. And I say that because if you're resourceful, tip number 1 will get you going. But I would say have at least maybe $3,000 to $5,000 if you can. If you have $1,000, or even if you have like a 401k, that's what I did. I cashed out my 401k from my employer, and I knew when it was coming. I knew how much I had in my account. I had just enough to get me temporary housing for about a week and a half or so, and luckily I was able to find a room to rent for about $400 a month. That gave me what I needed to get started. So utilize your resources. There are, a lot of places that you can find affordable housing. I'll get to that in the next tip, which is number 3, find your housing ahead of time. Y'all, I was stupid when I moved to Seattle and I didn't find housing like super ahead of time. What I did was I booked an Airbnb I booked like 2 different Airbnbs, and then I ended up staying in a hotel the night before my room that I rented from these people that I met through a lady that I knew from from home, and it ended up working out for me in that way. But the best way to do things, I would say, is to find your housing situation. Utilize Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, Expedia to get like cheap rates on hotels. If you know somebody that works in the hotel industry, use their discount if you can, for however long that you can afford to. And also, I'll give you another tip. Find a work trade hostel in your new city if they do have hostels, and they may allow you room and board without having to pay. So they may even pay you a small, stipend if you're working in a work trade hostel. So look into that. There is a website called workaway.com where you can find people that are in search of workers. Just do your research on them just so you don't end up in like sketchy situations. But yeah, workaway.com, you can find places where they may help you with housing as far as in exchange for work. So it's not for free, it's in exchange for work. Like you could work on a farm, people work in hostels, people work in bed and breakfast, things like that. So tip number 4, y'all, I would say you got to plan how you're getting there. I didn't have a car, so what I did, and I didn't want to take a plane because I didn't want to pay for baggage and all of that. I took the Amtrak. Best decision of my life, y'all. I can't even tell you how much it's just, you have to experience it for yourself. But I took an Amtrak. I bought a one-way ticket to Seattle, and I hopped on the Amtrak, and I was out of there. So plan how you're getting there. If you have a car, do a road trip. Plan on a nice little trip before you get to your destination. Go sightseeing, do all of the things, and you'll get there eventually. And make sure it is within your budget of what you can afford. We want to save money as we're doing this low cost move. Tip number 5, I always say, know the transit system in the city that you're going to. It's very vital. I didn't have a car again in Seattle. I had to learn the different bus routes. I had to learn alternate bus routes as well, because sometimes the bus that I would take when I lived in the suburbs, they wouldn't run past certain times, so you had to catch the other bus to this location and go catch a transfer to this location. Know how to read bus transfers, know how to navigate, especially if you're planning on living in a major city where there's a lot of traffic and things. You might not want to drive. Learn the bus so that you can get downtown and don't have to deal with parking, because most major cities, as we know, parking is horrendous. So know that, and be mindful. I will say, if you are planning on moving to the south, moving to like a Dallas or a Houston or an Austin, Texas, you need a car. You're not going to get by without a car. I got by without a car, but it was treacherous. And let me tell you, when the weather is bad over there, you're not going to want to be waiting at a bus stop or walking from a bus stop to your destination. So y'all need to get a car if you are planning to move down south, because I know the transit systems there are not what's up. I did let people know I was moving to Seattle. I told some friends, I told my family. Of course, they tried to talk me out of it. But I was like, you know what, I'm young and whatever. So let somebody know where you're going, so that if anything emergency-wise comes up, they can, either go out there to go, check on you, or, just so that they have some tabs on you, so that unless it's like a DV situation or something crazy. But otherwise, if it's just you trying to move and trying to live your life, let your family know where you're going. It's not worth it to be, secretive or anything like that. Just let them know where you're going, and, be safe so that you're safe when you are out there. Lastly, I always said, okay, save for the return ticket just in case. Now, the just in case for me was not a thing, because I was determined to have my situation work out. Seattle, it worked out. I was there for 6 years. Dallas didn't work out. I saved money for the return flight, and I got home, and now I'm, kind of settling down with. So, y'all, those are my tips and tricks for moving to a new city where you don't really know anybody and you have like limited funds. I encourage people to leave their hometowns. I encourage people to explore, the U.S., or if you are able to explore going abroad, things like that. Get those experiences in life, especially when you're young. I did my move in my 20s. I was how old was I? I was like 24-ish, I think. And then I just decided to do that. I mean, why not? So, y'all, be encouraged. It is possible. Peace, one love. Bye.